Hello, welcome to Bad at Board Games. My name is Brad Lake, and I'm bad at board games, so you don't have to be. Today we're going to be talking about ancient knowledge. I am not ancient, and I don't have a lot of knowledge, so I probably am going to suck at this game. Anyway, I've been playing this on BGA with a couple people, and saw that this also made a couple of the Dice Towers top 100, actually even top 50 list already, and it just came out. This is a game by Yellow, designed by Remy Matthews. So stick around and find out what my pros and cons are, a breakdown of the game, my value rating, and my BGG rating at the end, and see if it's worth your time and your money. So the theme, Ancient Knowledge, you get all these cards and they have all the monuments and different ruins from across the world. You're going to be creating them and technology tiles, and you're going to have knowledge on each of these cards. And as time progresses, as turns go through, the ruins or the monuments are going to start to turn into ruins until they finally collapse into their ruined state, and you've lost any knowledge that you have not removed from those cards. So kind of cool game, decent artwork. You know, it's kind of cool to see all the different ruins that you may or may not like. There's ruins they have that I wasn't aware of, and you think, oh, I know all these different places and things, but it's not all the most famous ones, but it does include the most famous ones as well. So that's the theme. And mechanics, it's really just command cards. You're going to have cards that do something. It's going to be hand management. What are you going to build? What are you going to discard to be able to play cards? And then you have an open technology market. So the card, you're going to be drawing from a blind deck, but then you also have technology cards, which are like, if I get so many of this, or if I meet this condition, I can then grab as an action one of the technology cards because I meet the condition. So that's the mechanics. There's not a lot going on, but they do a lot with the game. Player count, it's 2 to 4. Now, normally I'm able to tell you best player count based on like sitting around the table. I've been playing this on BGA, and we've been playing it asynchronous, so I can't tell you best player count. We've been playing it at 3, and it's been fine. But like I said, we're playing it over the course of a day and a half, just going back and forth through the different turns. It does not have a solo version, and I haven't seen anything. That there may be something on BGA, but I haven't seen a solo version come out at all on that. I would say it plays the same no matter what player count you are. If you're at 2, 3, or 4, it is going to, obviously, the more players you have, the more of a weight you're going to have coming back to you. That would be the downside to this game. But you're going to have a bunch of cards, and you'll see more of them if you have more players. You're going to see less of them if you have less. And then the time for this to play, it says it's 75 minutes, and I would believe that. Like, even though I've been playing it on BGA, it's not a long game. If people are trying not to lose their monuments or creating other things, that can drag it out a little bit. But once you hit 7 monuments that have fallen into disarray, you will have a mid-game where you upgrade the technology tiles that are at the top that everybody can draft from, and then once you reach 14 ruins that have gone to ruin, then the game ends. So it doesn't take that long. Your very first game is probably going to go longer than 75 minutes, but reading the cards and understanding what they do is probably going to take the longest amount of time in the first few. But once you kind of understand that, you'll be able to rip it and go through it. Turn overview. I'm going to reference my notes. You basically have how you're going to play cards or pick up cards. In your action phase, you're going to be able to create cards from your hand, and those can either be monuments or artifact cards. And then another action you can take is to learn a technology. So you have a technology, there's like 9 to 12 cards out, and if you meet those conditions that are on the technology card, you can take that card and bring it into your tableau. You can excavate, and excavating is when you have, as your monuments drop off your timeline and go into ruin, you can turn those cards sideways, and then that action allows you to draw more cards so you can fill up your hand. So it's a better way to get more cards in your hand than one of the last actions. You can archive. So the archive action, when you bring out cards in your tableau, your monuments, they're going to come with knowledge. And the idea is to take that knowledge token off the cards so that they don't become negative victory points when they drop off into ruin. Now, I haven't taken the archive action often, but the archive action would allow you to discard cards from your hand and remove those tokens from the card before they go into ruin and become negative victory points. The game basically has a lot of ways to remove knowledge. You are going to take some negative victory points because you're not going to be able to save all the knowledge, but that is one aspect to the game. And then the last action you can take on your turn is basically you draw a card from the deck. And even in the rules, they're telling you don't take this action unless you absolutely have to. There's a lot of other ways to get cards and draw cards throughout the game. And then after that happens, they say this is a phase, but you'll have to look at your tableau and any icons that have what they call timeline icons. They'll trigger and do their action. And then you're going to slide your whole tableau to the left. So you're going to have 5 or 6 cards on your tableau. Everything shifts one space to the left. Anything in the number 1 spot will then go into ruin, and any of the knowledge tokens on those cards will become negative victory points because they've dropped off. The game ends when you have 14 cards into ruin. There is a mid-game phase when the first person who has 7 cards that go into the ruin, you're going to upgrade the technology cards. You're going to flip them from level 1 to level 2, and it just makes them a little bit more powerful for the last half of the game. So the pro for this, it's going to be a nice. It's a card game, right? So there's not a ton of room. The box isn't too huge. It is a decent sized box. I think they could have made it smaller, but we all know that we like bigger boxes, and it sells better when you kind of just us. But it's not hard because once you understand the mechanisms that's happening, you're having to read the cards, and the cards are pretty clear about what they do. The icons, there's not so many, and if it does reference an icon, it's usually a card out that you can see. It's like, oh, this is a technology icon card, the yellow technology icon card, or the blue technology icon card, or the aqua, so it's easier to kind of understand the icons. And then there's a couple that once you see what it is, oh, this is the one that activates before everything shifts on my tableau. It isn't that bad. So I do think that's a pro. So I think another pro is that it isn't that hard to learn. Reading the rules is kind of self-explanatory. If you try it on BGA, you'll be able to play it for free. But it's a decent little game. Cons about it. So as with any dice game or some, cards that may or may not be balanced, we found in a couple games where there were some artifact cards that seemed to really give a boost to somebody, and there was one in particular, and they got it really early, so they were able to pull all the knowledge off and really capitalize on that for the entire game. And it didn't feel like we even really had a chance, even though it didn't feel like we were playing bad to try to catch up. So I think there might be a couple cards in there that can really be turn the page on that, but not too bad. And I guess it's not a con. It's just personal preference. You know, like, do you like a card game or not, right? So this is, you know, has a few chits that are for your knowledge that you're going to put on the cards. But other than that, you know, I don't have any real cons. Another pro that I do have with this is that I think it's interesting that the engine that you're building slides in and goes away. So, you know, you're putting cards out onto your tableau, and then at the end of the turn, they all shift to the left. And you kind of want them to drop off because you're going to get some of the abilities on the cards to activate when they do, but you want to be, you kind of want to stagger it if you can, in a way that works for you. Now, as you play it more, you might be able to really like maximize that. But what I found is that based on what you're getting in your hand, you know, you're going to just try to play what you can. And, you know, you don't want to deplete your hand too much. So, you know, I don't know if it's as much of a, hey, look, I'm being clever and I'm putting these cards out in a way. It's more like this is what I was given, and I'm just going to try to make these work. So it's not a long-term strategy. You're going to look every turn, what do I have in my hand? What can I play? I don't want to deplete my hand too much by playing this card and discarding 4 cards, and then I don't have anything to play next, and I got to take a weak move. So, you know, it's that puzzle. Weight rating, it's a 2.64 on BGG. I would agree with it. You know, BGG doesn't let you put any decimals in their weight rating. So some people are saying it's a 3. Some people are saying it's a 2. More people are saying it's a 3 than 2. You know, it's not a 2. This is not a 2 weight rating game by any means. If I were having to choose, I would have to choose the 3 to put it more in that midweight game. But it is a little bit more on the lighter side, maybe 2.75 if you're really splitting hairs. And then the value rating, you can pick this up for $42. Like I said, it's a card game with some chits. You know, box is about this size. It's nothing huge and outstanding. So, and seems to be board game space now is 40, you know, anywhere between $30 and $50 seems to be what we're paying for, like, you know, basic card and cardboard and a few meeples. Or if you want miniatures, now you're at $100. So at $42, I think this is, you know, the rating. If it were $25, I'd say this is a value of 5 for the experience you're getting. If this were $75, I would probably say this value is around a 2 or a 1. I don't, you don't want to be paying, you know, that much for a card game and the experience you're getting, in my opinion. I'm going to land this right around a 3. I think this is very average. I think the price isn't horrible. It's not great. So for the experience you're getting, you know, you're going to be right there, average around a 3. And then BGG rating. So on BGG, whatever, they are saying it, you know, the people that have rated it, and let me look. We are at 1,400 people have rated this, and they're saying it's a 7.2. I'd say it's a 7. You know, I think it's fine. I don't think it's tremendous. At the same time, like, I'm not gonna say like you should go out and buy this. I'm glad I got to play it on BGA. I think if I were going to play this, you know, 5 to 10 times and then be like, I've gotten the experience out of it, you know, but I don't know if this would be one that I'm, you know, going to be going back to and like trying to get better at the puzzle and just. So what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. As soon as the Dice Tower talks about something, and especially when it hits their top 100, people definitely start to take interest. I'd actually been playing it before they did that, so yay me. That doesn't mean anything. But anyway, I would like to know if you have BGA. I believe it's not in beta. I believe you can just play it and try it out and see what you think. And let me know if you've purchased it. Have you played it at a convention? Do you have any interest in this one at all? I always want to know. So Just remember, no matter how you play, whether it's solo, with family, or friends, enjoy whatever you are bringing to the table. Have a great night. Bye.